What if the love that raised you was built on a secret? This is the story of a father who skipped lunch for weeks to buy his daughter a coat. But that wasn't even the biggest sacrifice his family made. To uncover the profound truth of what they gave up for her, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a moment of this journey. My name is Monica. I was born in 1998, so I am 26 years old now. Today, I want to share something very close to my heart. It is the story of my family. This story is not just about me. It's about the people who shaped my life, who stood by me through every challenge, and who taught me the true meaning of love. If you are listening to this, I hope it helps you realize how precious your own family is. Let's start with my mom. Her name is Sarah. She is 50 years old and a homemaker. But to me, she is so much more than that. She is my guide, my safe place, and my biggest cheerleader. She has always been my source of strength, especially during the toughest moments of my life. I remember one time in school when I failed a very important math test. I was devastated. I felt like such a failure. I locked myself in my room and just cried for hours. The world felt so dark. When my mom came to check on me, she didn't scold me or show any disappointment in her eyes. Instead, she just sat beside me on my bed. She wiped my tears with her gentle hand, and she said, "Monica, failure doesn't define you, it's just a stepping stone. You fall, you rise, and you try again." Her words were like a small light in the darkness. They gave me hope. I worked harder than ever after that day. And the next time, I didn't just pass the test, I topped the class. My mom is the heart of our home. She cooks the most amazing meals, and every single bite feels like it is filled with love. She makes our house feel so warm and comforting, always filling it with her soft laughter and her gentle care. She never complains, even though I know how much work she does for all of us, from morning until night. Now let me tell you about my dad. His name is Michael. He is 54 years old and works as a businessman. But to me, he is more than just my dad. He is my hero. My dad has always been my role model. He is the one who taught me to believe in myself and to never, ever give up. Whenever I feel scared or unsure about something, I think about what he once told me. He said, "Monica, no one in the world is better than you. Walk with confidence, and the world will follow." I will never forget the time I had to perform in a school play. I was so nervous that my hands were shaking. I wanted to quit. But my dad, he spent hours with me helping me practice my lines. He watched me rehearse the same words over and over again, and he never complained. He just listened patiently. On the day of the play, he sat in the front row. And when I finished, he was clapping louder than anyone else in the room. His face was full of pride. That's my dad, always my biggest supporter, always pushing me to do my best. And then there's my brother Daniel. He is 24 years old, and he can be a bit of a troublemaker. But he is also my protector. If you have a brother, you probably know how they can drive you crazy one moment and then make you feel completely safe the next. I remember one day at school, some older boys were making fun of me. I felt so small and helpless. When Daniel found out, he didn't hesitate for a second. He marched right up to them, stood tall, and said, "If you even look at my sister again, you'll regret it." From that day on, no one dared to say a negative word to me. Daniel might tease me all the time when we are at home, but when it comes to protecting me, he is always there. At the same time, he is the funniest person I know. He has this amazing ability to make everyone laugh even in the worst situations. Whenever I feel down, Daniel cracks a joke, and suddenly everything feels just a little bit brighter. My sister's name is Emily. She is 28 years old, 2 years older than me. Emily is like a second mother to me. She has always been the one I run to when I need advice, or when I just need someone to talk to. When I was a little girl, I was terrified of thunderstorms. Every time it rained and the thunder started, I would hide under my blanket, shaking with fear. Emily would hear me, and she would climb into my bed, hug me tight, and tell me stories until I finally fell asleep in her arms. Even now, as an adult, when life feels overwhelming, one phone call with Emily can make everything better. She has this calm, gentle way of making you feel like everything will be okay no matter what. These are the people in my family. Each one of them is a special part of my heart. Their stories and their love have built the person I am today. And as my story continues, you will see how their love was tested and how it became even stronger through sacrifice. So you don't miss the next part of this journey, where we explore the deep sacrifices this family made for each other. Make sure you click that subscribe button. You won't want to miss how their story unfolds. Today, I live far away from my family because of my job. And let me tell you, it is not easy. I miss them every single day. I miss my mom's warm hugs, my dad's quiet wisdom, Daniel's silly jokes, and Emily's comforting words. When I was at home living with them, I didn't always realize how lucky I was. I think I took it all for granted, the love, the care, the small everyday moments that now feel so incredibly precious. Now that I am far from them, I have learned one very important thing. Family is everything. One of my favorite memories is how every morning in our house felt like a small celebration. My mom would wake up early, even before the sun, to make breakfast for all of us. The smell of pancakes, eggs, and fresh coffee would slowly fill the whole house. It was the smell of love in the air. My dad would sit at the dining table reading the newspaper and sipping his coffee. And Daniel, of course, would always try to sneak a bite of food before it was ready. My mom would catch him every single time laughing and saying, "Daniel, let your sister eat first." My sister Emily was always the last one to wake up. She would rush to get ready, complaining that she couldn't find her favorite shirt or that her hair wouldn't stay in place. I would help her find her things, and in return, she would braid my hair for school. These small, simple moments were so ordinary back then, but now I realize they were magical. Evenings were my favorite time of the day. After dinner, we would all sit together in the living room. My dad would tell us stories from his childhood. How he once got lost in the woods, or how he built a treehouse with his brothers. My mom, on the other hand, would talk about her dreams. When she was young, she wanted to be a singer. Life had other plans for her, but she never gave up her love for music. She would hum her favorite songs while doing chores, and her voice was so beautiful and soothing. Sometimes we would play board games as a family. Monopoly was our favorite. Daniel was always the banker, but he would cheat so often that we had to watch him like hawks. One night, I remember my dad asking, "If you could wish for one thing in the world, what would it be?" Daniel, without hesitation, said a sports car. Emily said, "A big house by the beach." When it was my turn, I looked around at all of them and I said, "I just want us to stay together like this forever." Everyone laughed, but I really meant it. Family was all I ever wanted. My parents taught me some of the most important lessons in life. My mom always said, "Monica, no matter how successful you become, always stay kind. Kindness is what makes you truly great." And my dad, he always reminded me life will not always be easy, but you have a family who loves you. That is your greatest strength. These words have stayed with me, guiding me through every single challenge. My mom and I shared a special bond in the kitchen. Every Saturday, we would have our kitchen time. She would teach me how to cook, and it was always such a wonderful mess. There was flour everywhere, and bowls would sometimes fall off the counter, but we just laughed through it all. She would say, "One day when you cook for your own family, you'll remember these lessons." And she was right. Now every time I cook, I feel like she's right there with me, guiding my hands. I remember another time when I was about 14. I had a big fight with my best friend. I came home crying and just sat on the porch feeling heartbroken. My dad found me there. He didn't say much at first, he just sat down next to me. Then he said, "Monica, not everyone will stay in your life. Friends may come and go, but your family is forever." At the time, I didn't fully understand what he meant. But now, years later, I realize how true those words are. Whenever I was sick as a child, Emily would bring me soup and read me stories to cheer me up. She always knew exactly how to make me smile, even when I didn't feel like it. One winter, I caught a terrible cold, and Emily stayed up all night taking care of me. She even missed her favorite concert just to be by my side. That is the kind of love that only a sister can give. And Daniel, of course, was the prankster of the family. He once put salt in my tea instead of sugar. I took a big sip and spat it out all over the table. He laughed so hard that he fell off his chair. But Daniel also had a softer side. When he saw that I was truly sad, he would sit with me quietly and tell me funny stories until I started to laugh again. He might have been annoying at times, but he always knew how to cheer me up. Now there are days when I come home after a long day at work, and my house feels so empty and quiet. There is no mom to ask how my day was. There is no dad to share his wisdom. There is no Daniel to make me laugh, and no Emily to give me a hug. In these quiet moments, I have realized that the true meaning of happiness is not in big achievements or fancy things. It's in the people you love. It's in the small, simple moments that make a life beautiful. Now I want to share something that makes my family truly special. The sacrifices they made for me and my siblings. These sacrifices are the reason I am who I am today. When I was younger, I did not understand what my parents were doing for us. But now, as I look back, I can see how much they gave up to make sure we had a good life. Let me tell you about my dad. He worked so hard every single day. He owned a small shop where he sold tools and hardware. It was not a big business, and there were days when he barely made enough money. But he never let us feel that pressure. I remember one winter when I needed a new coat for school. My old coat had holes in it, and I was embarrassed to wear it. I didn't want to ask my dad for a new one because I knew money was tight, but he noticed anyway. One evening he came home with a brand new coat for me. He handed it to me with a tired smile and said, "Monica, a princess should never feel cold." I later found out that he had skipped his own lunch for 2 weeks just to save enough money for that coat. When I think about that moment now, my heart feels so full it could burst. My mom's sacrifices were different, but just as powerful. She gave up her own dreams to be there for us. As I told you before, she always wanted to be a singer, but she chose to be a full-time mom instead. One day, I asked her mom, "Do you ever wish you had followed your dreams?" She smiled at me and said, "I did follow my dream. My dream was to raise you, Emily and Daniel. You three are my greatest songs." That answer made me cry. She never saw her choice as a loss. To her, we were worth everything. And then there is Emily. She had a chance to study abroad when she was in college. She was so excited about it. She had always dreamed of seeing the world. But that same year, my dad fell sick and couldn't work for a while. Without anyone asking her to, Emily gave up her dream. She decided to stay and help the family. She took on a part-time job to support us. She never once complained, even though I knew how much it hurt her to let go of that opportunity. She once told me, "Monica, dreams can wait. Family comes first." And Daniel, my protective, brave brother. There was a time when our family was going through a very tough financial period. I was in high school and wanted to join a school trip, but it was expensive. I had decided not to go. But Daniel couldn't stand to see me upset. He secretly started working small jobs, mowing lawns, delivering newspapers, just to save enough money for me to join that trip. When he gave me the money, he just said, "You deserve to have fun, Monica. Don't worry about anything else." I couldn't believe he had done that for me. That trip became one of the happiest memories of my life, and it was all because of my brother's love. Hearing these stories of sacrifice, it really makes you think, doesn't it, Emily giving up her dream to travel, a father skipping meals for his daughter's coat? These are profound acts of love. I have a question for you, and I would love to read your thoughts in the comments. Has anyone in your family ever made a big sacrifice for you? Or have you ever made one for them? What was it, and how did it make you feel? It wasn't just the big sacrifices, it was also the small, everyday things that showed how much my family cared. My mom staying up late to sew my torn school uniform so I wouldn't feel embarrassed. My dad walking me to school in the pouring rain because I forgot my umbrella. Emily sharing her favorite dress with me, even though I had spilled juice on it once. Daniel sneaking chocolate bars into my backpack whenever I was sad. These small acts of love made me realize that family isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up for each other, every single day. One night, when I was about 16, I overheard my parents talking. My dad said, "I don't care if we don't have much as long as the kids are happy. If they are happy, we have everything we need." Hearing that both broke my heart and healed it at the same time. I finally understood that everything they did, every single struggle, was for us. It taught me that family is about putting others before yourself. It's about a love that asks for nothing in return. Living far from my family. Now, I understand the weight of their sacrifices even more. Every success I achieve in my life feels like it belongs to them too, because they built the foundation for it. I call my mom almost every day. She always says, "Monica, don't forget to eat." And my dad, he always ends our calls with, "Be strong, my girl. You're making us proud." Emily still sends me long messages checking in to see if I'm okay. And Daniel, he sends me silly memes that make me laugh no matter how hard my day has been. I want to tell you about something I only learned after I grew up. Family is the strongest bond we have. When life becomes hard, they are the ones who hold us together. When everything else falls apart, family is the place where we can start again. There was a time when I hit the lowest point in my life. I was struggling at my new job, feeling like a complete failure. I couldn't sleep or eat properly. I started to think that I just wasn't good enough. One evening, feeling completely broken, I called my mom. The moment she picked up and said hello, I couldn't stop crying. I told her everything, how lost I felt, how nothing was working out. She listened quietly without interrupting. And then she said, "Monica, life is like the sky. Some days are full of storms, but the storms always pass. You are stronger than you think, and we are always here to lift you up." Hearing her words was like a light in the darkness. I realized I wasn't alone, and that gave me the courage to keep going. When I visited home a few months later, my dad took me for a walk. We didn't say much at first. We just walked side by side. Then he turned to me and said, "Monica, do you know why trees grow so strong?" I shook my head. He continued, "They have deep roots. No matter how strong the wind is, the roots hold the tree steady. Family is your roots. Whenever life feels too hard, remember where you come from. You will always find your strength there. Those words have stayed with me. I think about them whenever I face a new challenge. Emily gave me the best piece of advice I have ever received. She said, "Monica, don't chase perfection. Chase happiness. And remember, the happiest moments in life are almost always with family." She was right. The best memories I have are the simplest ones, sitting on the kitchen floor with Emily eating cookies and laughing at silly jokes, watching my dad read me bedtime stories, his voice so calm and comforting, helping my mom in the garden, feeling the warm sun on my face. These moments didn't cost anything, but they are worth more than anything I could ever buy. My brother Daniel has his own way of showing love. When I first moved far from home, he sent me a letter. It wasn't long, but it meant everything to me. He wrote, "Monica, no matter how far you are, remember this. You have a home. And it's not just a place. It's us. We are your home." Reading those words made me cry with happiness. It made me realize that family isn't about being perfect. It's about being there for each other, no matter what. Now that I live on my own, I have learned something very important. Success money and achievements can feel empty without people to share them with. Family is not just the people who raised you. It is the people who stand by you when no one else does. It is the love that never asks for anything in return. If you are lucky enough to live with your family right now, please hug them. Tell them how much you love them. Don't wait for the right moment to show your gratitude. It is always the right moment. And if you are far from your family like me, call them. Send them a message. Let them know they are in your heart. Life moves so fast, and we often forget what really matters. But let me tell you this, no matter how successful you become, no matter how far you go, you will always look back and realize that your family was your greatest treasure. Family is like a tree. The branches grow in different directions, but the roots remain as one. These roots give you strength when you feel weak. They remind you of who you are when the world tries to change you. Hold on to them. Fight for them. Because in the end, it's not the house, the job, or the money that stays. It's the love of your family that makes your life truly meaningful. Before I end this story, I want you to do something for me. Just close your eyes for a moment and think about your family. Think about the times they helped you, supported you, or simply made you smile. Now promise yourself this, no matter how busy life gets, no matter how far you go, you will never forget to love them, to cherish them, and to thank them for being your foundation. Because family isn't just an important part of your life, it is your life. Take care of your family, and they will take care of you in ways you can't even imagine. That is the greatest gift you will ever have. And that's where Monica's story concludes. This one was a real journey of the heart. I am so curious to hear your take on it all. What were your final thoughts as you listened? Do you have any lingering questions about why a character did what they did, or about Monica's feelings? Please leave all your opinions, your theories, and your questions below in the comments. I truly love reading them and building this wonderful conversation with all of you. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Until our next story, take care.